alongside Jesse Simonton, Rob Lewis, and Brent Hubbs. I'm Austin Price for the Rocky Top Roundtable, and it's homecoming on the hill, guys. Tennessee will play UAB coming up 7 o'clock on Saturday night. Question is kind of the question that's been the last month or so, who's going to be the starting quarterback for Tennessee when they roll out there? Let's break them all down. Let's start with the guy that has been the starter before he got concussed, and that's Brian Maurer.
Well, and I think if Brian Maurer's 100% healthy and clear to go, then I think that's probably who Tennessee's going to play. Makes the most sense because he's the guy who was the starter, and he's a guy, Rob, that is, healthier than Jerry Garantano is right now. So Maurer makes the most sense to me.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, despite what JT Shrout did, he did some really nice things. I think the general feeling is that Maurer has a better handle on things. He's got more experience. And, I really like Maurer's mobility. That's also one of the reasons, he suffered a concussion was his ability to get out of the pocket and get downfield. But just from what we've seen from him and Shrout, I think he's further ahead, has a little more in the toolbox to work with.
And Jesse, I do think it's going to be interesting, though, because this is a UAB team that's got 26 sacks on the season, super aggressive, going to come from a lot of places, try to show you a lot of different looks, be exotic and some stuff, probably some things that he hasn't seen to this point. So how does he manage the game? How does Jim Chaney help him manage all the different looks that UAB is going to show him with some of that exotic stuff they do?
Yeah, regardless of who's out there at quarterback for Tennessee, UAB is a top 10 defense. Smith and Marino have combined, according to PFF, for almost 50 pressures. They've combined for 11 sacks themselves. Obviously, they lead the nation, UAB does, in limiting plays over 10 yards. This is going to be a real challenge for Tennessee's offense, and I think Maurer's ability to kind of get out of the pocket when maybe some plays do break down is probably going to be an asset for Tennessee to utilize on Saturday. And I think, guys, we saw JG out at practice this week. His inability to really take some of those snaps is probably going to limit, if he even has an opportunity to play.
This is a Jerry Garantano who's finally, as Jimmy Pruitt said, showed what the coaches had seen, and it was specifically this drive right here where he went boom boom to Jennings and it was a touchdown. Kind of got a flow. Once he's back healthy, is there a decision depending on how Maurer's playing at the time?
Well, I think you do. It's all hands on deck. Any way you can win football games.
Sure.
I think the challenge in this game, with all the pressure that you're facing, is who can get the ball out of their hands fastest. When some of the RPO stuff may slow some of that pressure down, which makes Maurer, Rob, a little bit more sense in this game. Plus, you throw in the fact that I think it is going to be hard for Jared to handle some of the the handoff stuff.
I was going to say the handoffs more than even the snaps. Just watching him at practice this week, that's the part that I thought where he looked, gingerly and kind of tentative with it. And that's to be expected. You get a guy going through full speed and pop you on the back of the hand where you got a screw in there. That's not exactly comfortable. And I wanted to circle back. I think Jesse mentioned a big point about UAB's ability to limit big plays. I know you had a stat this week where Tennessee, over this last little 3-game span, they've been so much better at generating chunk plays. And I think that's what this offense needs. I still don't think they're to a point where they're going to go 15 plays, 80 yards. They need to dial some of those explosive plays up. So I think that's going to be something to watch on Saturday.
UAB's 7-1 for a reason. They're a good football team. Now, with that said, if you're Tennessee, you hope you can continue to play the way you've played, because I don't think Shrout's going to start, but you'd love to still get him some playing time. This is a young man who, did flash at points last week, and we see the home run ball right here. That's his bread and butter to Callaway. Just because I think you'd love to, get more stuff on tape with him and continue to develop him.
Well, the bottom line is, you got Jared who's got a broken hand. You don't know how long that's going to linger. Brian Maurer's not finished a football game that he started in and played in. So you better have everybody all hands on deck.
That's why Shrout's throwing, or Juwan Jennings is throwing routes on air.
Well, Jeremy Pruitt said Wednesday on the teleconference, Juwan Jennings could run the offense if they need him to, and they might need him to. You never know. You better have everybody ready, and it's going to take multiple quarterbacks for Tennessee to get home at the end of this football season. If they're going to be a bowl team, it's going to take more than one guy to get there, I think.
Tell you what, as impressive as Jim Chaney's work has been with those quarterbacks, equally impressive has been the defense, because they shut out South Carolina in the second half the other day. Daniel Batuli, 15 tackles. Jesse, UAB presents some problems on offense, but the way this defense continues to progress, it's hard not to, kind of like Tennessee's, future on the defensive side. And that's something I don't think I would have said, a month ago.
Yeah, they're playing better. The slow starts, Pruitt has kind of lamented the fact that against Georgia, Alabama, and South Carolina, they've given up a touchdown on the opening possession to each one of those opponents to kind of put the team in an early hole. They need to obviously correct that as we enter the month of November. UAB is an interesting offense, Brent, because they run it, but they don't run it very well. But when they do throw it, it's explosive. They, according to research I did this week, after Oklahoma, they're the only team in the country that has 2 guys on their roster with at least 20 catches, averaging more than 20 yards per reception. Watkins and Parham are explosive, so Bryce Thompson, Tennessee safeties, they're going to be challenged. Now, the thing is, UAB will turn over the football. They lead Conference USA in giveaways, so there are some opportunities for Tennessee to maybe create some advantages there with some takeaways.
Well, they've only been sacked, I think, 5 times this season. Quarterback does a good job getting rid of the ball, moving around, making people miss. They try to do stuff fast. South Carolina was the opposite, Rob. It was a slow developing offense. I mean, they threw some quick slant stuff, but the run game was a little bit more slow developing. They couldn't stretch you down the field. Total different schematics this week. They're going to UAB is going to try to go completely over the top and go vertical. When UAB lost their game to Western Kentucky, the quarterback was sacked 3 times. He threw 4 picks. Tennessee's got to affect the quarterback because when he struggles, it's a real problem for UAB. He's not struggled very much.
And they've been doing a really good, a much improved job of that, getting to the quarterback, creating, generating turnovers. And one thing I think has been really impressive is, I guess, really the last 3 games is how they've come out in the second half on defense. First 5, 6 games of the year, real sore spot. Second half, they outplayed, outscored Georgia State, BYU, gave those games away. Came out, Mississippi State, 10 points, South Carolina, a shutout, played good. Tua was out, that was a factor, but still held Alabama to 1 touchdown down there. So I think that's one sign I think you can see where this team is really getting better. They're growing up. They're able to go in at halftime, make adjustments, take those adjustments out onto the field and execute.
Well, I go back to what Jesse was talking about a minute ago with the, Bryce Thompson, the secondary being on point. You went to that Mississippi State game. Tennessee's able to get to the quarterback a lot. A lot of it was coverage sacks. Tennessee's secondary really did a nice job against Mississippi State. To me, they've got to do that again Saturday.
Well,
the secondary's got to be on point, which will allow those guys to get the ball or have more time to get home.
Well, Darrell Taylor's got it. With a knee, can he play 3 weeks in a row and be as effective as he's been the last 2 weeks? Can he show some consistency? That's something that if you put a resume out for Darrell Taylor, one of the negatives is going to be inconsistent. 3-sack game, no sack game. 4 pressures, no pressures. Can he do something for 3 weeks in a row? Kevon Bennett, does he continue to come on? That edge outside stuff, can they continue to get some pressure there to force some errant throws and to help the secondary out as well as the secondary helping that front out? You're exactly right. It works hand in hand.
Of course, Tennessee will get Darrell Middleton back. He, of course, was disqualified. I love when they use that phrase from last week's game, but he'll be ready to go this week. Tennessee should be really a full complement up front on the defensive line. A group that continues to get better and better and better. Let's talk Jeremy Pruitt for a minute before we get out the door. 0-2 start. Some people had him dead and buried, and he's dug himself out. And I'm not going to say he's totally out of the hole, but he's at least got that head popping out and looking around after the way this team has played the last month. And, he just continues to win over the fans.
Well, look, he wins over the fans because his team's playing better. And he can credit Jawan Jennings for that, helping lead this team. I think Jim Chaney and Derek Ansley have gotten a better feel for this team, particularly Chaney on offense. Rob and Jesse, they're coaching more to what this team can do. And they've been more competitive. And they've won a couple of games at home. And Saturday was as fun as Tennessee fans have had in a long time. And I thought Jeremy Pruitt had his best week last week on all fronts.
Media-wise, he's just getting more savvy, getting more comfortable, I think, in his own skin. And you're right. The biggest thing is, winning a couple of SEC football games. But, incredibly, I'm not trying to rub salt in the wound, but you go back, you flip the script against Georgia State and BYU, and you're looking at going into November with a real chance to be 9-3, which is incredible.
But you can also, Jesse, lose in November. All the goodwill you got, you can squander on Saturday if you don't show up ready to play.
Yeah, we're kind of past the point of these hypotheticals now. Tennessee looks sunk. leaving Florida where they were just completely non-competitive. And I do think that not only Jeremy Pruitt, but these players, the rest of the staff deserve a lot of credit for how they were able to really circle the wagon in that bye week. They obviously did get kind of punched in the mouth against Georgia, but how they've responded the rest of October, that's been a rough month around here the last few seasons, to now enter November with an opportunity to really finish strong, build some momentum on that year two. Again, I mean, their bowl hopes aren't just afloat. I mean, they have a legitimate chance of winning 6 or 7 games, and to think about where they were at the end of just last month, that's pretty remarkable.
Tennessee kind of a little bit past the midway point of this long stretch before they hit their second bye week. Tennessee's got to find a way to push through these next 2 weeks against UAB and Kentucky. If they can be 5-5 heading into those last 2 coming off a bye, you got to like their chances, especially with the fact that Missouri will have just played Florida and Georgia coming off their bye. So, you know, this is a Tennessee team that, you know, as Jesse said, has kind of circled the wagons. They've, you know, found a way to, you know, have a meaningful November stretch, and it all starts Saturday night at 7 o'clock.
They had a meaningful November last year with 2 games, and they didn't get it done when they needed to. Jeremy Pruitt's referenced it multiple times this week. It starts for Tennessee this week. You can't let any opportunity slip away from you. They got to go get it done Saturday night against UAB.
You know, Jesse referenced a lot in the preseason the never again sign, you know, of Georgia and Alabama. Maybe the sign should not have been those teams, and it should have been never again the Missouri Vanderbilt finish. Because that's a great point. And we'll see if Tennessee can continue the trend upward. Saturday night, 7 o'clock, Tennessee and UAB. For Jesse Salmonton, Rob Lewis, and Brent Hubbs, I'm Austin Price for the Rocky Top Roundtable.